Hi, you've clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Saturday. Over here in the Atlantic, we've got Lisa, which made an interesting run to hurricane status yesterday, is now falling apart today rather rapidly. And we still got Julia, the ghost of Julia, spinning around over here. You can see her defined circulation still sitting out there, but really not much real tropically going on over here, and all the real tropical activity is now shifted westward into the southwest Atlantic basin, and this is the area we've been talking about to light up, and it is lighting up. All the activity has shifted over here, and now we have Tropical Storm Matthew moving into Central America over here, absolutely drenching all these areas. Unbelievable amounts of rain are probably going to fall around here with this system, and lots of flooding is going to be a big problem. If we zoom in on this over here, we got a classic decoupling system. The surface center is over here again. The hurricane center path yesterday that was in here I said was too far south, and it did come up in here over the water, which isn't going to help it a whole lot, but it does make a difference in the long run. You can see the mid-level center continuing into the mountains of Guatemala over here, and this is going to be dumping a whole bunch of rain. This system has been firing a whole lot of convection while over land, and this is going to be a dangerous situation for the folks over here, and this will continue inland and probably die. And the reason why is because this shortwave trough in here is starting to dig down. This is going to dig down in here and to start drawing stuff north, but it's coming in too late, so this is going to continue inland before getting any tug on it over here, so this is probably going to die. But notice what is happening on the satellite over here. Notice the nice monsoonal jet is still running right into Nicaragua over here, and this is going to keep on doing that. And notice the arc of clouds over here extending to the east of the system. This is the envelope of low pressure extending to the east of Matthew over here, and this is going to continue as this center heads in and dies. What you're going to see is the monsoonal jet continues to come in here, and you're going to see this low pressure nosing out to the east, and as this comes in here and weakens, you're going to eventually shift the heat back towards the east over here, and we may see a new area of low pressure eventually start to try to form north of Honduras over here and then get pulled northward. And this is going to be something to watch for. Trying to dissect the models on this is actually quite a task, because you got some trying to take it into the Bay of Campeche, some that try to take it back out over the water. I think this is more likely to come in here now and probably just end up dying. Even if it tries to come north over the Yucatan, its mid-level energy is leaving. This will probably die, and what you'll see is you'll see the monsoonal circulation try to reform over here and get low pressure. And this is going to be an interesting situation, because if this happens, it's going to be, well, you could name it Nicole, a new system, but it's really all within the same giant monsoonal circulation. It's not going to be that far away from Matthew. It would be like a tropical disturbance coming in and then reforming the low center out here. So it's kind of an interesting situation. It'll probably get renamed Nicole if we get something else to develop out here, but very interesting situation to say the least. And here's the Canadian Ensemble's precipitation through day 5, corridor of rain up the eastern seaboard. GFS, days 1 through 5, corridor of rain up the eastern seaboard, and this is showing you where the storm is going to want to try to go once it starts forming in the northwest Caribbean. It's going to be coming up towards the Florida area over here. And looking at the European, day 4, you can see that the low tries to reform out here over the northwest Caribbean. By day 6, you see it pulled north of Cuba, and this actually stays just east of Florida on its way out over here. By day 10, it's gone, but notice we have another one getting ready to form down here again. This pattern is going to light off several of these in the southwest Atlantic basin in here, and you're not going to see Matthew or Nicole be the last of these. You can see the troughing in here, and what you'll probably get is you'll get a 1 or 2 of these that try to get drawn north rather far to the east, but you'll have the trough lift out, and you'll have it split away down here as the ridge builds back over the top for a time, and you'll get another one that tries to come into the Gulf of Mexico like Matthew or Nicole is going to attempt to. And we see the GFS 12Z day 6 brings it up west of Florida over here, and it's going to be, once this gets into the Gulf, if we actually get something to develop and come into the eastern Gulf, it's going to be a little bit tricky on the intensity, because if you have this trough coming down, you're going to end up with a 200 millibar trough in here and lots of dry air in the western Gulf, and you can see dry air getting wrapped into the circulation here, and this is actually not a big deal of a storm over here. This is 996 millibars or something in here, not really that big of a deal for Florida. Plus, a track up the west coast of Florida will kill almost any storm. It's very hard to get a storm to strengthen on that track anyway. But the farther east it comes, it'll probably be better off. And you notice it still tries to hang low pressure down here. It can't really handle bundling all the heat, and it'll try to develop something else behind it down here rather quickly after it leaves. And what was more concerning is seeing something like the 0Z run, which brought it up farther east towards South Florida, and this is where the dry air is far enough to the west where you can actually wind up a pretty potent hurricane coming across Cuba into the Florida area over here. So that's the kind of situation we need to be watching out for. And yes, I did see the 6C GFS. For anyone who doesn't know, this was the run that brought the thing up and then turned it around and whoop west towards Texas and Mexico, and I'm sure that raised a ruckus. And you know, it is true that if we get a secondary development down here, we're going to be having some potential issues with the track. The reason this happened on the GFS is because it brought up the storm so darn late that the trough tried to leave the ridge built back over the top and force this west underneath. And I have my doubts about this happening, but if we do wait long enough, this is day 8 over here, if it really does take this long for a storm to form and come up, then you know, yeah, we could see that happen. That's why I said that in this kind of a pattern, although it doesn't favor the western Gulf for landfalls, you have to watch, because all it takes is a few days where one of these troughs slips out, the ridge temporarily builds back in, and you steer something west. So it's something to be keeping an eye on. However, I still believe that the eastern Gulf of Mexico and the southeastern United States are still the most threatened from this, but everyone should be keeping an eye out. So again, we're going to be continuing to watch this pattern. You can see this area of the world firing up nicely. Lots of rain over Central America is the big story with this right now. May end up being the biggest story. We'll see, again, arc of low pressure. We'll get something new probably developing here within several days. This will be coming north towards the Florida area most likely, and we'll watch how its track evolves, how the intensity evolves. It could be a weaker system. It could also be a stronger system. So we will be continuing to be on the lookout to see what happens. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.